Good morning, afternoon now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Afternoon.
We had to
We are
shake the
coming to
sleep from
you.
you.
We are coming to you not live today because we couldn't get it to work. So we are pre-recording. We are at two different locations. And so I am Brittany Eady, founder of Graceful Balance Wellness, and this is Allison Groff, our amazing intern and intake coordinator here at Graceful Balance. Um, how are you doing today, Allison? Let's start there.
I'm good. I said I should not be left to my own devices here in the office. I have been involved in all the shenanigans we do on Fridays, but it's not as fun by myself. So I do miss you.
Oh, yes. For those of you that don't know, I'm recovering at home. I've been sick this week, so feeling much better today, though. So I'm just chilling out, just making sure that I'm not going to get anybody else sick, and just hanging out here at home now. So I'm sorry if you hear my kids sounding like elephants upstairs.
Listen, sharing is caring, but not with that. And so I have to say, just pause and say, I'm super proud of you for actually taking rest.
Yes.
How hard was that?
It was very hard. I wouldn't normally do it, but the Lord was prompting me this week is like, you need to slow down. You need to take a step back. It's going to be okay. So
Yeah.
goes right in line with what we're going to talk about today.
hmm Got a number for you.
Yeah. So last week we talked a lot about kind of what makes graceful balance different. And this week I want to chat through what is our foundational model. And so when you call into Graceful Balance, you'll get a hold of Allison. She is our intake coordinator and does a fabulous job with that. And so she's going to take you through today. What is our foundational model? What are clients experiencing when they come into Graceful Balance?
Oh, well, first things first, just visiting our page, there's a landing spot to actually book that 15-minute consultation. And that just sets a time aside that we both can mutually lay some things down and kind of have a little sanctified space for you to share what's going on, a little synopsis of what's happening in your world. Then I kind of follow that with what Graceful Balance offers and how it differs from other places traditionally. And then we just leave it up to the decision of the spirit and of you to let us know as a practice if we're the right fit for you. And it's okay if we're not. But that's what that time is for, to be able to kind of confide in someone that this is what's happening, taking that courageous step to reach out and just share that you would like some help for you or your child or whatever that is. And then we follow that up with, well, here's how we can. So that's what that first 15 minutes is all about.
Yeah.
And I actually really enjoy them because you get to just authentically talk to somebody about something that's happening. And that's not the easiest. I kind of relate it to being like your low light reel sometimes. We see the highlight reel on Instagram and all these places, but we don't often share the things that are actually not going as planned or you feel like you need a little bit of support with or just need somebody to shoulder up with you. And so
Mhm.
I love those 15 minutes. You just get to talk to people. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely do a fabulous job at that. We're so grateful for you. So again, like just a recap of what we talked about last week is like after this intake, you sign up for services and then you get a treatment team. You get a whole team of people and you get to have this wide angle view. We help you have this wide angle view of what's going on in
Mhm.
your life. And that's through, a therapy foundational session, a nutrition foundational session, a somatic regulation, and a coaching foundational
Mhm.
session. And then we help you hone in on what your needs are and how we can really, help you dig deeper and to
Yeah.
experience the healing in your life. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of four-pronged with that 15 minutes. Not only are we telling you about those foundational sessions, but essentially we're educating you. So we're educating you on what your options are, right? After that, we kind of normalize the fact that like everyone has something that's going on. And it's normal for you to experience it showing up maybe mentally and physically, or maybe there's something going on you can't even articulate, and that's why you need that somatic therapy because it's held within. Whatever it is, we're sharing with you what it is that we have in those four sessions, and then kind of empowering you from that space to be
Hmm.
like, okay, make a good decision for yourself. Because what I think gets lost in translation a lot of times is if you ask a person what they need, they know what it is. And
Hmm.
so when you guys are calling in and asking for help from Graceful Balance, you already have a pretty good idea of what it is that you need help with. You just are tired of playing whack-a-mole with other things. And so this is just an integrated way to be able to see you as a whole person.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you for explaining what you do.
Of course.
So, our big topic this week is surrender. And I know
Oh.
that we are leading a women's Bible study together on Tuesdays, and it's just a beautiful group of women. And
Mhm.
it's been coming up there. It's been coming up in our own personal quiet times that we've talked about and texted with each
Mhm.
other, like, oh my gosh, here's this theme again. And even just this morning with the worship initiative, if you don't know what that is, that's an app they text you every morning and you get a song and a
Mhm.
devotional. Even on there this morning, it was like a theme of surrender. And so kind of all week, it's maybe for the last 2 weeks, it's been that theme in both of our lives. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe God's leading us to talk about this today.
Well, I love that you're teasing it out. Here's one of the things a lot of people will say, well, I don't know that I hear from God.
Mhm.
And I can tell you honestly, I've never audibly heard from God. I think it's amazing and beautiful when people say that they have, but the ways that I hear from Him are in the different frequencies of the ways that He will meet me in my life. What do I mean by that? Well, if the idea of surrender is coming up at church and it's coming up in a song that you heard and it's coming up in a conversation that you had with a friend and it's coming up at your group, like that's God speaking to you. In my case, that's my experience with it. I don't know about you, Brittany. How do you notice that he's speaking to you?
Yeah, same things, the themes. I've only audibly heard God once or twice. And I can like tell you about those another time, but they were like very clear to me.
Hmm.
Um, but the most of the time it's through music, it's through themes and like scripture and church and devotionals that I'm reading, and everything fits together. Nature is a big one for me.
Yeah.
Is another way that I experience God. So yeah.
Yeah. I love
Um,
that.
yeah. So when we think about surrender, we think of this feeling where sometimes you know what the next step is, but you don't feel ready yet.
Mm,
And I think a lot of us assume that readiness should come with that readiness should come before obedience, or maybe that we should feel peace before we say yes to something. But that hasn't always been my experience. And sometimes surrender is steady, and sometimes it's very uncomfortable. So,
yeah.
do you have any experience with like that feeling of peace versus uncomfortable?
I had to chuckle because in my experience with the Lord and the idea of surrender, you had brought up the idea of like being ready before there was action.
Mhm.
Um, and in my experience, it's been kind of like, here, go. And I will take off running. We've joked about this all week. I'll take off running and jump. And that's about the time that I feel like I should ask questions. And I'm already mid leap. Um, so to some, that would be like very anxiety riddled. But for me, that's kind of the way that I've postured myself toward him because I do trust that he has an idea. It's like mid flight that I start wondering what exactly I just signed up for. Um, the idea of surrender for me used to feel pretty negative. I'll be honest. It felt like I had to give something up.
Mhm.
It felt like punishment, like you need to lay whatever that
Mhm.
is down, and that's not congruent with who I know God to be.
Mhm.
So most recently he's been able to show me that surrender can be very peaceful and very positive, and I just had a
Yeah.
very recent experience with this where it was something that I'll be honest with you, we're kind of blind. We have these blind spots that we don't pay attention to, and the
Mhm.
signs are there, but we're not actually ready within to hear about them yet. And I've had some people pour into me that have even said, like, this has always been there. You weren't ready to hear it.
Mhm.
Um, and just meaning that you weren't spiritually ready or your heart wasn't postured in a way that you would receive it in love, right? And
Mhm.
so they sat on that information, or it just wasn't necessarily revealed to me in that way.
Yeah.
But the idea of surrender for me has now become let me make myself willing and open to the idea that my way is not better than yours, for one. And two, that it's not just a consideration, it's an actual act of like going face down, hands up, and living with life kind of
Mhm.
like this.
Yeah.
And I mean this with our kids and
Hmm.
our businesses and our love lives and everything else,
Hmm.
right? Living with your hands wide open. I
Yeah.
not to give a too long-winded answer, but just approached the altar this past weekend. I just felt like pulled up there to the song "Make Room." And the song "Make Room," if you've ever listened to the lyrics, says, "Here is where I lay it down. You're all I'm chasing after now." And that was with the idea of surrendering. That chase that we do when we want something that isn't necessarily like life-giving to us, or it's not for us in that particular season or whatever. And so it's stripping it down to, let me just go after what you have for me. And it
Hmm.
might be something way better than I was chasing after.
Yeah.
I don't know how that resonates for you, but that's
Yeah.
kind of where I've been.
What's bringing me to the idea of like, let's define what surrender is, right? And I want to do
Yeah.
that in just a second. But before I do that, I want to circle back to our kind of inside joke is that you and I both are the people that jump, right? Like you sent me a text the other week and I was like, done, it's done. And you're like, well, that was quick. um, if I don't do it, I'm not going to do it, or I'll overthink it, or whatever. So I was
Yeah.
reading Mark Batterson this morning, one of his books, and it was confirmed again during this that he talks about in the world we're told ready, set, go. That's the thing that we always like
Hmm.
if we're racing with kid. When we're kids, we're racing. They say ready, set, go, or it's
Hmm.
the idea that we get implanted into us. But really, it's the opposite. It should be, or it is, go, set, and ready. God says go, and you do it,
Hmm.
and he'll prepare you along the way.
Hmm.
He doesn't, um, he will always provide and he will always equip us. We just have to be
Hmm.
willing. So, um,
Yeah.
but if we're honest, control feels safer than surrender, right? So,
I can only
um,
imagine Abraham was like, "So where exactly do you want me to go?" And he's like, "No, I just asked you to go." Like, okay.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's define surrender. So this is a voluntary act of yielding our own will and our own desires to the authority and sovereignty of God. It is letting go of our personal control and shifting from self-reliance to reliance on God. And it
Hmm.
allows God to fight on our behalf and enables the Holy Spirit to transform us into the image of Christ. So that's a lot, right? But
Hmm. Yeah.
the thing that hit me was shifting from self reliance to reliance on Him. I don't know, like with me being, I'll just say hyper independent, I guess. Like I go and get
Not
things done.
you.
It's hard to shift from that self-reliance of I can do this to I can't. And it often takes something bringing me to my knees, right? To realize that I
Hmm.
can't do it all.
Yeah.
I can't do it on my own.
Yeah.
So
I hear that.
yeah.
Yeah, well, sometimes life just thrusts you into a place where you have to be pretty independent as a human, right? And then when something kind of rattles you to the point of like, no, you do have a dependency. I had spoke earlier in a post this week about we're actually designed in dependency. We're
Hmm.
supposed to be dependent on him. And when we're like, no, I got this, it's an example of not being as willing to surrender and kind of
Yeah.
carrying a little bit of a backpack of pride to say
Hmm.
like, well, that's a cool idea, but I'm not going to run with that.
Hmm.
And he's so patient with us. He's like,
Yeah.
well, whenever you're tired of carrying that backpack around, I'll be here and you can
Right.
lay it down.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for you, how has surrender shown up in your life?
Oh,
Over the
you
years or just
know,
recently?
mine, a lot of stuff comes up for me that's relational. I'm a super relational person. It's super important to me to be available to others, to be a helper to others, and to serve in a way that just kind of strips down all the other things that don't seem to like matter as much to me, as like presence does. I really enjoy like the just meeting people, talking to
Mhm.
strangers. It could be anybody, right? And no wonder I like the intakes. But like I've always said you can put me in the middle of Walmart and I'm still gonna be the same person that I always am, like where I'm like, oh, what's your name? You know, I feel
Mhm.
like one of those kids that probably should have had the little like not a leash, but like maybe just an eye on them that they don't weren't like running off to say hi to them. But I love people and I want
Mhm.
to see um, people do well. I want to see them thrive. And
Mhm.
so for me, I've had to often surrender the idea that I am their best medicine or I am their um, best advocate or I have the answers, to almost make it seem as like I am a savior in some way to
Mhm.
them, because there's already a savior that knows way better than me. And so
Mhm.
I've had to lay down ideas sometimes of like that I know best, in my own life and in theirs,
Mhm.
and just actually create some space for him to move. You know,
Yeah.
I can plant
Mhm.
some nuggets of like wisdom and I can maybe be a good influence, but it's him that does the work. And it's
Mhm.
me stepping back and laying down what my agenda was there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. Um,
Yeah.
and it made me think like I read this book probably I don't know. Well, I didn't finish reading it, so I'll tell you what happens. This book is called Control
Okay,
Girl.
I'm done with this.
Yes, that is exactly what happened. So that's I was reading this book called Control Girl about 5 years ago or something. I had to put it down because I was so convicted. So and so
Hmm.
historically, well, I would just say I'm a recovering control girl. So
Okay.
historically, kind of driven by fear and recently I was in the story in I think it's Luke 10, Mary and Martha, and I was looking at
Oh.
these ladies and I'm like, I think I fall more in line with the Martha. I'm busy, um, you know, sometimes frustrated, right? And so continually trying to be more like Mary, who prioritized presence over performance. And for somebody who um enjoys like doing well and performing
Hmm.
and getting the
Yeah.
A's in school and all that, that's hard to sit and just be present, right? And that doesn't feel
Hmm.
easy. And so what I've learned in my own counseling journey and in my quiet time is that I am the make it happen girl. And this has led me to overfunctioning. And so I believe that if I don't, it's a lie, right? If the lie is if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. Um, and this over my lifetime has led me to take on more than I should. It's led me to the trap of perfectionism, of people pleasing, of comparison, of burnout, and the inability to ask for help. And so, God's
Right.
been quietly reminding me that I can't do it all alone, and nor should I. And
Mhm.
so it's just a beautiful little journey that he's been leading me on. Not always easy, right? but beautiful. And
Well, it takes me back to the second question. Well, it's actually maybe the third question asked in the Bible. Second question God asks, but
Mhm.
he's like, who told you that? Like,
Mhm.
who told you you needed to do that? And that is
Yeah.
just such a powerful question all the time. Like, who told
Mhm.
you that that was your job, Allison?
Mhm.
Or who told you you had to do all these things, Brittany, for it? But it's so easy. We say these things, and it's so easy as humans to get caught up in that because we do have things that are obligatory. You know, you
Mhm.
think of, you mentioned school, you have coursework that has to be done, but you're also a parent. And so it's like your presence is divided until that coursework is done because that's like a priority in your mind.
Yeah. Mhm.
And but you got this kid over here who like needs you in that moment.
Right.
And so we feel torn a lot of times. And then we insert and compound all of this with shame and guilt
Mhm.
and all the things that come along with making a decision one way or another, as opposed to finding balance and surrendering our initial plan.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easier said than done, right?
I know that's right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you try to control outcomes, what are you actually hoping to prevent? For me, it's like that trying to prevent being uncomfortable or maybe like this fear that I have coming to
Hmm.
life. What might it be for you?
So referring back to the relational aspect of it, I'm trying to make sure that I don't get hurt, right?
Hmm.
Because if it's a person, the person has the ability to hurt me.
Yeah.
So it feels like a lot easier to have control over it, to say, I'm going to keep you at an arm's
Hmm.
distance and you're not going to get any closer than that, because if you get closer, then you have the potential to hurt me.
Yeah.
Um, and so I've found that come up in my life in that way. I've also found it in a way that, like, you want to, let's just be honest, all of us want to feel like we belong. All of us want to know that there are people that love us and all of these things. So
Hmm.
we actually crave the thing that will keep stiff armed,
Yeah.
which
Hmm.
which makes it kind of convoluted in that way. But controlling it comes into place when it's got to look a certain way. And
Hmm.
we related a lot of times in comparison to, everybody's posting these bestie reels, or everybody's posting
Hmm.
these things about what their life looks like and the people that show up for them. But like, they're not posting about the times that it is quiet, or they're not
Hmm.
posting about the times that it just doesn't work out, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And being okay with it. So I think sometimes I've tried to control that scenario with, if you stay over there, I don't have to worry about rejection or hurt or abandonment and all those things that get tied along with people.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this next one, we were talking a little bit earlier. I was like, oh, is surrender about losing control or releasing the illusion of
Whew.
control? And so I
Yeah.
think that we all struggle with the illusion that we're in control, right? We want
Hmm.
that. It makes us feel secure in a way. But is it
Hmm.
really there? Is that really there?
It's so easily related when you think about like the weather. We,
Hmm.
we think we can like kind of control our scenario, but like really the weather, we can make our best guess and it's going to be what it is. I
Right.
can pretty much
Hmm.
fairly say we're not going to have a tornado or
Hmm.
like, a hurricane today here in South Central Pennsylvania. That I can
Hmm.
understand. And that, keeps you from being like out of it. But at the same time, I can't control what the wind's going to do and the rain. And,
Hmm.
and so, like, to even spend the time worrying about it
Yeah.
seems bizarre. Well, now
Hmm.
relate that to your world.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to walk in and I'm going to do this and I'm going to wear this and this person's going
Hmm.
to say this and I'm going to have the opportunity to do that. And you're like predicting something, you have no
Yeah.
idea what's going to happen. And there's so many variables. And it's kind of like, well, that's cute, but that's probably not going to happen.
Well, it's like us preparing for
You
sessions,
know?
right? We can have our sessions all prepared, and then and somebody walks in, it goes out the door, right?
Mhm.
And we meet them where they're at. But it reminds me, I wrote down the scripture this morning,
Oh
Proverbs.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I wrote down the
exactly.
scripture this morning, Proverbs 16:9. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. And that kind of goes right along with what you were talking about.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have great ideas and like they help us to feel a certain level of comfort. But let's be fair. Let me ask you it in this way. If you had the blueprint of your day or your life even, would you want to see it?
As a control
Because I
girl,
know
no,
for me, there are definitely part there are
you know
definitely
what
parts
I
where
would
I was like,
do?
oh,
No,
thank goodness you didn't show me it. What?
yes.
You'd
Yeah.
highlight it.
I
Uh,
would highlight it. Yeah. I would go in and say, you know what? I don't like this, or I want this to change.
you
And
have an
that's
eraser,
why
you know
God
what I
does not
mean?
show it to me.
Exactly. And so, like, the illusion of control
Yeah.
becomes more clear when you look at it in that way. Because if
Yeah.
he'd have showed me my blueprint of my life, I'd be like, no, that's not going to happen. And yes, it is. Well, I'm not doing it then. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Mhm.
Like, so
Yeah.
it's definitely an illusion in my mind. But
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. We kind of already talked about this one, but have you ever said yes to God before you felt ready?
Mm. Um, yeah. Because I didn't know what he was asking me to do in a full range of comprehension. So I've been asked often why I shifted from teaching to helping others in the world of counseling. And the answer I give all the time is I was standing in my classroom. This is about as close as I came to being hearing audibly from God. But his message to me was, your work is outside of these walls. That's all I knew. It's kind of like Abraham being like, hey, go do that. Right. I was like, so where is it? And what am I supposed to be doing? You know what I mean? And then he gently kind of put the bumpers up on my life to be able to kind of narrow that into, it was counseling. And I knew it had to deal with people. And so often it became glaringly obvious at like a conference, a parent teacher conference, where parents would come in and you'd see one generation trying to raise another generation, but there were
Mhm.
things that needed to be healed within each of those generations so that we didn't repeat or become
Mhm.
confused about like what we were passing along. And I was like, my work is with people, but it's not in these walls, you know?
Mhm.
So I had no idea what it looked like.
Yeah.
And my last time teaching was in 2020. So from 2021 until what are we in 2026, that's the journey of what I said yes to.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
You know, how would I have been like, oh yeah, I'll take a 5 year, 6 year journey, kind of like bouncing off of all the different bumpers with you. Sounds great, you know. So
Mhm.
I've absolutely said yes without not
Mhm.
without knowing what it looks like. How
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, I think more in recent years, I've been more, I guess, willing and ready to say yes, and excited, even if I don't know the outcome, because I know it's always better.
Yeah.
Um, Again, looking back on my life, I've always been the kind of person that required the extra little push. Like I knew what he wanted me to do, but I had to have the push out the door to do it.
Hmm.
And so for Graceful Balance, that was the shutdown, right? It was like, he said go, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, and then things in my life, right, happened where it was like he had to push me into it, but I did
Hmm.
it, and it was such a beautiful journey that I'm still on, and now just being more willing and ready to say yes to the things that he has in front of me.
You know what's coming to mind? I was once given this sort of metaphor, but it sticks with the idea of surrender. Surrender is like that kid that won't go in their car seat. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Yep.
arched back,
Uh-huh.
like and you're taking that forearm to like the
Yep.
hip area. We're like, come on, this is good for you. Like this keeps you safe. This is my plan. This is where I'm
Mhm.
taking you to, right? And God's like, would you just relax and sit in your car seat, right? Um, how many times have we been there, those of you that are
Mhm.
parents, where you're like, oh my goodness, like quite the
Mhm.
fight. Everybody's sweated, your hair's all over the place. And you're like, if I would have just sat down and
Mhm.
trusted that you were doing the best thing for me in that moment, I could have been able to do that. But so many times, like emotions are in the way and things like that.
Mhm.
And that's where I think it's really important to have a voice, not only his, but like people in your corner that you can go to and be like, this is what I'm hearing. And so often he'll use that person to like
Yeah.
encourage you in just the right
Mhm.
way to relax you enough to sit in the seat and go. You know,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, and community is so important when you're ready
yeah.
to say yes
Hmm.
to. So for you, what's the difference between feeling ready and being willing?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I know you have mentioned this, but I don't know that we ever quite feel ready.
Mhm.
We, you know, like think about your everyday. Do you ever like your alarm went off and you're like, oh, I was waiting for that moment. You know what I mean? Like, no, it takes a second to feel
Yeah.
ready, you know?
Mhm.
And even when we're in the middle of it, there's this next thing that we almost have our focus
Mhm.
on that we're not ready for. And
Yeah.
so like ready is almost like something you're chasing as an illusion again. A
Mhm.
willingness, on the other hand, is being open to whatever it is that's going to happen without feeling like a ton of resistance is required,
Mhm.
right? It's like an acceptance that you don't have to be right. I think
Yeah.
that's a part of it too. Like, so often people are in conflict because someone has to be right. And you're like, but do you though? Like, do
Mhm.
you really need to be right? What if that is the better idea? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
Um, and so, like a heart of willingness, I will say to encourage anybody that's listening, isn't a ready heart. it's just
Mhm.
one that's open to the ideas of the
Mhm.
things and the opportunities that are around you. And man, do you miss them when you're trying to get ready. But if you're willing,
Absolutely.
you get to capture them.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that speaks to, you know, in my younger years of trying to always be prepared, always learn all the things, always like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't, whatever it was, but I was just trying to do all the things to get ready. But then you're right, like I would miss out on the people or opportunities right in front of me. But when I
Hmm.
shifted into that more open space within my own heart and body, you know, I was able to see those things and able to say yes. And, you know, not saying that that wasn't uncomfortable, but I don't know how to describe it other than beautiful. It's my word today for sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Well, and it later permeates like every facet of your life. So
Yeah.
as I was
Hmm.
joking earlier, saying like I was that kid that wanted to extend a hi to, anybody really. As an adult, it's like important for me to do little things. So I meant like if I'm checking out, I'll say, "Oh, thank you, Brittany, for helping me," and I will call you by name, or I will ask for your name, or I'll make connection with you, or someone could be in the parking lot and you just exchange or whatever. I do a lot of that. And my kids, they're like, Mom, do you know everyone? You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, but every person
Yeah.
matters, right? And so
Hmm.
if I'm constantly like trying to get ready for things, I'm task
Hmm.
oriented, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm missing the things he has because I'm worried about a task. But all
Hmm.
these people are walking around who might feel unseen. Well, hey, how are you today, Brittany? You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Yeah.
They're seeing that and recognizing that there's an importance to just being willing for things to happen
Yeah.
that are spirit led. I don't know
Hmm.
they're gonna run. I don't know who I'm gonna run into at the store,
Yeah.
but it might be somebody I'm supposed to talk to that day.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that about you. I'm learning so much from you. So I think overall, like surrender isn't about giving up. It's about giving it over, right, to God.
yeah.
And it's a form of stewardship. So
Hmm.
you're like taking what he's given you and doing something with it, but stepping into what he's calling you. It's a shift from maybe doing all the things to just being with him. So it can look different in different seasons. Um, yeah. Any other
Yeah.
things you had to add to that?
Kind of the image that came up there is if you were playing a game, if you and I are playing a board game and I only take the turns, how much fun are you having? How much progress are
Yeah.
we making? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's so
Yeah.
one sided. So maybe sometimes we just slide the piece over and we let him do a couple things. You're like, oh, that's cool. Like I just learned something there. Or
Yeah.
how'd you do that? You know what I mean? You're
Hmm.
giving them the opportunity. And so that's what's cool about God because he's relational.
Hmm.
He wants it to be the give and take. Well, if there's
Yeah.
only one person playing, it's not
Right.
nearly as fun, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you ready for rapid fire? This is
Let's
your
do it.
favorite part.
It's my
Uh,
favorite part. Make me uncomfortable
I
now.
say that in jest. I just like to see her squirm a little bit.
Uh-huh.
All right. So you have four beautiful children. Which of
Yes.
them holds you most accountable?
Oh, that would be my girl Briella. She she will call you out, tell you like it is. She is a leader among leaders. Let me tell you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
you know
sure.
what I love about a kid like that? You can't get away with anything. Like they're
Mm-mm.
like, but you said one time when I was four that
Yep.
we shouldn't do that. And you're like, no.
Yep.
Right.
You know what? When Liliana was her age, she was similar, and she would go over to grandma's house and tell on me like a tattletale.
You're like,
And then my mom
you know
would come
what?
over and be like, you know what?
I'd be like, you're not my favorite anymore. I'm just kidding. So, what was your most memorable childhood toy, outfit, or show? You can pick either of those.
My most memorable childhood toy was called Chubbles. Have you ever heard of Chubbles?
Oh my God,
He was this, I
no.
don't even know how to describe him. He's upstairs. I still have him, but it's my daughter's now. She's
Yeah.
taken it. So I'm sure he's glad to be played with. I always think of Toy Story when I think of him. So he had these little beady eyes and they would light up every time the light, it would probably scare me as children, but he looked like,
Yeah.
I don't watch Star Wars, but my husband said he looks like a little like Ewok thingy. He's got like the
Mhm.
little red coat, and
Yeah.
he's got these little beady eyes that light up when the light hits him, and he makes this little sound. He was given to me by my grandma when I was 6 months old, and I just always had him. So that's like my most memorable because I don't ever remember anybody else having him. Like it wasn't a toy that I don't even know where she got it. So,
She found that in a special place.
yep.
Oh, it does seem special to you though. So oddly enough, I'm wearing this shirt. I'm going to make sure everybody can see it. It says healing
Yep.
is holy work. This is one. Can you tell people what this shirt is for? Let's just start there and then I'll ask you your question.
Yeah, so we just finished our fundraiser for our scholarships program for our retreats and other services that we offer. And it's just a way for people to pour back into our community. And so these shirts are our slogans here at Graceful
Mhm.
Balance, and one is healing is holy work. That's our little slogan here. We believe that to the core. And so we've had those designs. Shout out to Prestige Apparel in Hanover, who did a beautiful
Yeah.
job on all of our shirts.
So with that theme in mind, what name a wellness slogan that you'd like to see on a shirt?
So we have that one, healing is holy work, and then we also have one. I'm wearing it today. I'll stand up so you can. It's honor your body is the other one that we have, and that came from one of our beautiful Bible studies. Just honoring where you are, right, and being able to say, I need to excuse myself, or knowing that your body is a temple, right, and that the Holy Spirit lives in us, and just being able to treat ourselves well, talk to ourselves well, all of those things. I'm trying to think of, I think the one that makes me laugh is the one that it's not released because it's just one that you and I have. It says, "Can I tell you about EMDR?" So
Go ahead,
we just
say the
come up
rest.
with sayings, and then I make everything into t-shirts.
Right. Be
um,
careful what you say around her. It'll
yeah,
end
it'll
up
become
on
a
a
t-shirt.
t-shirt. Yeah. Yeah. It's not BS. That's the rest of
Yep.
that shirt. We'll wear it for you guys sometime. But all right. And so if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Um, when I guess I have two answers to this is like when we were in Bible study this week, but maybe this week or last week, that one of the ladies said something like, I wonder what it would be like to be in the presence of Jesus as a living, like when he was here on earth and to sit with him.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about that this week, and I was like, oh, that would be a really like I would just love, because she was saying like they didn't have all the evidence. Like we have the evidence. We have the Bible, we
Mhm.
have the evidence. We know that this stuff happened, and we know that he's real and this is all true. But the people back then didn't have all of that evidence. And so what would it be like to sit with him, not having the evidence and just getting to know him? Right.
Mhm.
In real
Yeah.
time. That would be really cool. And so that's my like spiritual side of that question.
Yeah.
Um,
Before he
the
was famous.
yeah,
You're
the
right.
more human side to that is like I would love to sit down with my grandparents again.
Mhm.
I lost all of my grandparents like back to back when I turned 18. And so I
Mhm.
would love to sit down with them, having the wisdom that I have now to learn more from them. Because I feel like
Yeah.
although I spent time with them and I love them very much, I didn't get wisdom from them or didn't ask for wisdom from them like I would have now.
Yeah. I love that. So, if you could create a holiday along with your shirt creations, what would it be called and how would people celebrate it?
Yeah, so to go along with today's theme, it would be say yes before you're ready day. So, and then people would just say yes to the things that they've been overthinking or sitting on for a while. It might be like apply for the job or start the business or sign up for the activity that you've been hesitating. Go
Yeah.
meet somebody new kind of thing. So
Go for it day.
go for it
Got it.
day. Yes.
All right. We're gonna have to pick a date. We're just gonna encourage everybody. We're just gonna a little push.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
You're in the
great
hot seat.
job. I'm up. I'm in the hot seat.
If you were a flavor of ice cream, what would you be called and what would be your main ingredient?
Probably vanilla surprise.
I always think of
Only
you
because
dancing. I always think of you
oh
dancing on our reel.
Yeah. That's what you get. It's like, oh look, because you just get little vanilla, and then all of a sudden there's a little bit of surprise behind that. I would say there's probably, so it wouldn't be dairy. Sorry to all of those that love their dairy. Dairy and I don't always get along. And so mine would have to be a non-dairy form of ice cream, but it would have like some Reese's peanut butter cups in there because there's some sweet and there's a little bit of salty in there, and just to keep you guessing.
Balance, right?
Yeah.
What is your favorite way to relax after a long day?
um Honestly, so there's so many times where I ride home with nothing on. I don't know if you've ever done this where like there's no music, there's
Mhm.
nothing. It's just quiet. It's just the noise of life going by. So that's one of the things after a long day I'll find myself riding in just kind of silence.
Mhm.
When I actually get home and it's definitely sweatpants and a hoodie, like that is definitely the attire. Hair up on my head in a messy bun. And when my children are there, I like to just have conversations with them, like almost pose like silly questions,
Mhm.
um, just to see, they're like very specific questions, just to like see where they are. So I just like to have conversation in that. If I'm by myself, I would say that at the end of a long day, I don't really watch a lot of TV, so it's more of like a reading or journaling or something that's kind of like decompressing because
Mhm.
for the most of the day, I'm like living out loud, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
What is your biggest it?
Oh, there are so many. Sometimes I figure out an ick before I even like can. Yeah, it happens a lot to me. I find a lot of icks in the gym and places like that. But oh, a big ick for me is like touching the bank canister or anything publicly. Like I have germ squirt and like hand sanitizer everywhere that I go. So there's a lot of icks for me. But the one that comes to mind is I don't drink after anyone and never really have. And that got even worse when I had children because for them to hand something back to you, and my apologies for the graphicness of this, but it looks like a snow globe and you're like, nope, no thank you, like, so that's a big ick in
Yeah,
my opinion. Yeah.
that's gross. If you won the lottery tomorrow, what would be the first thing that you would buy?
I want an infrared sauna, an in-home infrared sauna. I used to sit in the sauna after swimming with my Bible, and it was my most cherished time. If I had the sauna, that's what I would do after a long day.
Yes.
I would probably sit in the morning and sit in the evening. So if I won the lottery, that's my first purchase. And then I
Mhm.
would probably book a trip to Colorado because I really want to go to the Red Rocks and
Yeah.
see that. So
Hmm. Yeah. Take me with you.
okay, deal. Yeah.
And what intimidates you?
You asked me this one before we got started, and typically I don't look at them because I like to answer right on the spot. But this one was hard for me. And I think the only thing that I ever settled on was knowing that you have something impending, like a meeting or something, and you feel as though there might be some confrontation in that meeting. That is super intimidating to me. Only because, again, I think we'd probably rather have the control of knowing exactly the content of that conversation and how to navigate it. And we
Hmm.
aren't given that. And so that I find to be intimidating. So maybe that would be the space where God's working on me to just have a willingness to understand that that conversation, although may have confrontation in it, isn't to be scared of. It's just one to walk into.
Yeah.
So,
So noted that I won't send you a text that says, "Can we talk?" Or maybe I'll
oh,
do that and just like it'll be a growth moment, right?
yeah. Thank you for that. Who likes a hey, we need to talk text? Like, let's just be honest.
Well,
Oh,
thank you all for thank you, Allison, for being here. And sorry we couldn't be together in person, but at least you won't have to like, you know, Lysol the place again. So
Oh, well, listen, everything has been cleaned in every aspect of this place. So we're promoting wellness in more than one way over here.
oh, but
Yeah.
thank you guys for watching the replay and for being here today. We hope that you'll catch us back next Friday. And remember that healing is holy work.
All right. See you guys. Have a great
Yeah.
weekend.